Bills-Lions. Possible Super Bowl preview rematch from a Thanksgiving Day game from a couple of years ago. The Lions are favored by 2.5. They got the extra rest. The Bills had the 44-42 loss to the Rams. Over under 54.5. It's the highest of the season. The prior high was Cincinnati-Baltimore, Week 10, 53.5. They combined for 69 points. You had picked Detroit to win every week of the season except last week when you picked the Packers. Go Lions. Are you picking the Lions again?
I'm going back on the Lions. I am. I don't think this is I think this will be an awesome game. I think the over should be thought about. Like I said with the Bills-Rams game last week, I said I thought it would be a shootout, and we got a shootout. I think it's the same thing here. I don't think there's any other option for the Bills. The Bills are not going to be able to stop Detroit's offense. When the Bills have to play a offense with a big, powerful offensive line, and then they have just a passing game that has a little creativity, they're in a big bind. A big bind. And you saw that last week, and that's pretty true throughout the last few years with them. And again, they're not going to be able to stop the run. They don't play man-to-man well at all. So they'll get beat doing that. I expect Detroit to move the ball up and down the field on them. Now, the other side of that, with the Detroit injuries and how they play, I think that the Buffalo Bills will move the ball in the Lions defense. One, Josh Allen's amazing, as we know. He's one of the greatest talents we've ever seen. Detroit doesn't have pass rushers to contain him. There's no speed guys there that when he gets out of the pocket, he's going to have a little extra time than he normally does when he gets out of the pocket. Let alone, I think Josh Allen finally has a supporting cast and company that if it's a shootout, they can possibly pull it out. As in the past, I used to go, oh my gosh, Josh Allen's going to have to be so amazing to make this shootout work. Now, he can throw a ball to Khalil Shakir for a 10-yard gain, and he can break a bunch of tackles and get a 50-yard gain. Matt Collins and some of these guys can beat people deep, Amari Cooper. So that's where they're different. But still, I'm going to go Lions 41-38.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm going way.
Really?
Right.
Are on the over.
I am.
79 points.
Yeah.
Good Lord. When they played 2 years ago, it was 28-25 Buffalo at a time when the Lions were 4-6 entering the game. The Bills were 7-3. This time around, it's different. The Lions have that vibe. The Lions are that team, although they really haven't been blowing people out. They've got 3 huge wins. They've got 7 games decided by a score or less. I think this one's going to be close. I still think the Lions cover. I've got it by a field goal just like you do. I've got 30-27. But either way, it should be a great game. That Lions offensive line is good enough to steamroll the Bills. And I think what we're going to see is the Lions will kind of slow the game down some. Although they're not going to try to make it 4 corners, North Carolina, Dean Smith. It's not going to be, I think, huge, ridiculous scoring because of the ability of the Lions to control the line of scrimmage, run the ball, have methodical drives, get their points, and then force the Bills to try to match that. So 30-27, I think the Lions win. And the Bills are going to have to scramble for 2 seed versus 3 seed, which, depending upon how the wild card plays out, could put you in a much tougher spot. It could put the Bills in a spot where maybe they got the Ravens coming to town.
Oh, and that would be
instead
bad.
of a team like the Broncos in the wild card round.
Hey, for the Bills, I mean, the top teams in football are the worst matchups for them, and I know that people go, well, duh, but the way they play is tough matchups. The Ravens, the Eagles, the Lions, they're going to be tough, right? The Bills are going to be better against teams that like the Chiefs, where, okay, yeah, they want to run the ball a little bit so they can go all in on the run. But, yeah, there's no people to worry about that's scary in the pass game. So they can find one area to kind of gamble in and go all in on. When they got to play the Ravens, they get blown out. Oh, they got to play the Rams. They can do the same type of thing. Oh, they let up 45 points, right? I expect the same thing. Here's one thing I know we're going to move on to the next game, but I want to ask you this. I think the Bills are at the point here where you heard me say this about other teams in the past. Stop playing these zone slow death defenses. Stop. The best player on your team is the quarterback of your football team. There's too many times last game, in the Rams game specifically and other games, where he's over there by the Gatorade bottle all day long, right? Get blitz, shit or get off the pot. Do something. I'm so sick of that. But oh, we're going to play zone and make them work and do okay, that's to a point. But with some of these high functioning offenses, they go down and score every time. So how about not just take some gambles and see if you can make something negative happen and maybe get a turnover or get the ball? And if not, they go down and score, but at least Josh Allen's not on the bench for 17 minutes. They do it too much. I got to think they got to reevaluate that in these type of football games. It's what I'm going to be watching for at 425.
That's a great point. And I've never thought how ridiculous that phrase is because nobody's voluntarily lingering on the puck. You're only there if you've got some sort of medical issue that is causing you to not be able to do the thing that you're there to do. Of all the seats in the house to choose from, it's the least comfortable.
Yo, homies, thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.